First, I appreciate everyone for coming today. Thanks for covering us as always. Just got off the field, had a good day out there, and looking forward to playing Memphis. Obviously, coming off that game on Saturday, I thought it was a great day, for Temple, great day for our university, for our players, for our fans. We appreciate everyone for supporting us. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the people that were at the game, the students that were at the game. That was a cold day. It was a tough day to be out there, and we had just a lot of students and Temple people that came out to support us and sat through that weather, and we really appreciate it. We do that fly-in where we walk in and trying to teach the team, that it's not about the show, it's about the game, and to kind of be focused. But we took a moment and tried to thank everyone that was out there standing in that weather for us. We appreciated that as well. So hopefully everyone was proud of the way we played, and we defeated an extremely good team, a well-coached team. Coach McNeil is the class of this conference, a guy that I look up to, and I was really proud of our kids for going out and making plays and finding a way to win. So with that, we turn our attention to Memphis, a team that's tied for first place in the conference. Outstanding team, really well coached. Coach Fuente's a guy that I, like to pattern myself after a little bit. He's doing it a year longer than I have, but does a great job with them in that program. They are extremely talented. They're first in the conference in scoring offense, first in the conference in rushing offense, third in the conference in scoring defense, third in the conference in rushing defense. I mean, they beat you up on both sides of the ball. The number one in kickoff returns, I think 14th in the country. They hurt us last year on kickoff returns. So, there's a really good team coming to play here Friday night, and they're in first place for a reason. So, our hands are going to be full. And we're trying to get some guys healthy, trying to get ourselves prepared to play, and hopefully our kids will have their minds right, get their bodies as healthy as they can get them, and go out and battle an outstanding team. So, someone mentioned to me that we're, I don't really follow these things, but that we're underdogs, and I can see why. They're a really talented team on both sides of the ball. But we'll go out there, we'll compete like we did on Saturday, and put our best foot forward and go play Temple football. So with that, I'll see if you guys have any questions.
You talked about in the conference call yesterday, their running back. What had popped out of the film about him?
Well, I think he's just got great vision. He understands their scheme. I mean, they really, really, really frustrate you. They run a misdirection offense, an option offense. They have all kinds of screens and bubbles. So not only do you have to be talented physically, you have to have great eyes and great awareness. And so they'll stress you. And if there's a seam, they have a couple guys that really can go the distance. And, Sam Kraft's been out for a couple weeks. He's a wide-out / running back, had 3 touchdowns against us last year. He'll be back this game, and he's another vital playmaker for them. No, I mean, most of our guys are still kind of banged up. Hershey Walton really isn't practicing. Shabazz Ahmed. I was proud of Leon Johnson, who's played tackle for us all year. He had to just kind of step in at guard last week on Wednesday when Shabazz got hurt in a freak injury. Started the game, his first time really playing guard, and just kind of stepped in for us. Brendan McGowan got hurt in the last game, so Brian Carter started the UCF game at D tackle, and he'll probably start this game at offensive guard. So if that gives you any idea of the mash unit that we have going on here. And but you know what? It's fun. I mean, we got through the last game by doing the same thing, and guys just are competing and fighting, and it's a credit to Brian Carter that he can go from D tackle to offensive guard in 2 weeks, and it's a credit to Chris Wiesahan that he's getting him there. So. But, we have some guys banged up. It's just the reality of where we are, and these long bye weeks. This is a long year, It's been 4 months, really, of football. So, but I'm sure other teams have the same problems. Yep. Yep. I think he wants to play, and he's unselfish. I mean, he started that UCF game at D tackle. He played some. We had some of the guys banged up, But I said, hey, Brian, we need you, man. And, as a redshirt freshman, he's much more mature than probably I was when I was that age. I mean, he said, hey, whatever you guys need, whatever the team needs. And so he'll be ready.
You see every week in college football, you deal with 20-year-old kids. Now you have a big win, but now you have to go play another game. And is that just, you tell the kids, enjoy this for 24 hours, but nothing changes?
Yeah, we refer to it as the process, and all that really means is the things that you do to get yourself ready to play, and then on game day you have to go play, and there's a series of things that we do, and whether it's practice, watching film, and the only way to get yourself ready for Friday night is to do those things and do them at a high level. And so, it's going to come down to whether or not guys, practice and prepare, and they get themselves ready to play. And, when they see the statistics for Memphis, I think they all thought East Carolina was the number one scoring offense, right? I had news for them. They're not. Memphis is. Memphis scored 35 points at UCLA. They've lost to UCLA and Ole Miss, two top 20 teams, really two top 10 teams for a while. So, they're a really good football team. They lost to Houston because they had 4 or 5 turnovers just like we did. So, the tapes quickly snaps you back into reality.
Do you worry at all though about mentally just how hard it is to beat a team like that and then come back and beat a team that might?
I worry about that all the time. I just worry. It's the whole purpose of what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach the guys to be the same guy every day. Just come to work every day. Which when you're 18, 19, 20 is hard. When you're having success is hard. When you're having failure is hard, right? The last 2 weeks it's been the other way, right? Last week I was sitting here saying, hey, I'm trying to get the guys to take a break and catch their breath. When really, what you're trying to do is just eliminate emotion and just go back to just doing what you're supposed to do. So that's what they have to do this week. And if they don't, this team's really, really, really good. They'll embarrass you quickly.
For a team that struggled, Matt, during those last 2 weeks, can a game like that get a win over ECU? Can that kind of focus you guys? And once you get the reward of playing and doing the process, that refocus you for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, I thought they were really focused coming out of the UCF game, getting ready for the game. I think hopefully it gave them some confidence. Again, it's the same message over and over again. It's if you do these things, you'll have a chance, right? It's not rocket science. If we don't have penalties and turnovers, we'll have a chance in every game. I'm not saying we'll win every game, but you'll have a chance, right? And, you look at the Houston game, it's 17-10 with the ball on the 1 foot line, 17-10 with 2 minutes left in the half. Why we lost the game? Because we kept getting penalties. We kept getting turnovers. And so this game we didn't. We had a couple silly penalties, right, where we hit guys, inbounds or yard from out of whatever it was, right? But if you just don't give the game away, you're going to have a chance. And so I think for our guys, they're learning that, right? And when they learn it, and when the older guys are telling the younger guys, then you have a program, right? Then it's not me every day. I get tired of hearing myself say the same things over and over. So the older guys, the vets, are starting to say it to the younger guys. The team's starting to understand it. I just hope they understand it by Friday.
What are the challenges that come up? You talked about how you wanted the offensive line to run a lot better. Now you could be going into Saturday with 2 newish guards and 1 who's playing defensive tackle. How do you roll with that? How do you just get them to adjust on the fly? Is a lot of it Kyle communicating with them once they get up?
It's just them. We lost Dion in the Tulsa game, right? And he, Dion tried to play at Houston and really struggled, but he played, right? And then, he didn't play the UCF game at left tackle, so then we had to move Shabazz to left tackle and play Samaje and Leon, and then, Shabazz gets hurt, and so, it's been a rolling deal with the O-line just in terms of bodies the last couple of weeks. And if you go back to camp, that's why I said I felt like our starting 5 would be okay. They would develop, and it would just come down to how healthy we've been. And so during those 2 weeks, I'll talk about. I'm sure people are gonna ask me PJ at some point. I feel for PJ. There's not a lot of time, and we're not really ripping the ball up inside, running the ball. So, we're asking him to do a lot of things, outside the pocket because we can't really hold up inside right now. And we're going to eventually, right? I'm really pleased with the direction they're going, and I'm pleased that they're finding a way to win while they go through it. But, when you're moving D lineman to O line, you're gonna have some growing pains.
What do you want that to do for everybody inside the facility? It's 1 game out of 12, but also, people nationally say, hey, they beat the top 23 team or whatever. What does that do?
Well, hopefully it just shows the guys that we're trying. Like anytime you go to young people and you're asking them to do things that are really hard, you'd like to have some evidence to support what you're doing. They're kind of going on faith, and it's nice when there's a little bit of evidence. And I just think it shows that we're trending upward, right? We're certainly better than we were last year, and we asked them to do a lot of hard things between last year and this year. So now, if you have success this year, okay, now we're going to ask them to do the same thing, if not more, in the off season. And what you need the team to buy in and say, this, guys, this is how you're successful. So, when you beat an SEC team, you beat a ranked team, they start understanding that. Then you lose some games you feel like you should have won, and you can teach off those. And we're just trying to get the mindset right of everybody. It's not this thing out there. You don't have to figure out you just have to work hard and do the same thing every day, and you'll win a lot of games.
Have you thought much about the bowl eligible thing that's out there with you guys having 5 wins to get close?
Well, I think about it just because I'd like to get to 6 wins, right? Because that's the next win, right? And so I'd like to beat Memphis on Friday night, and because I know how hard that's going to be. And if we did that, would it be an accomplishment for these kids to be bowl eligible? Absolutely. I mean, I think that's going to be an accomplishment for every team every year. It's not the end game that we want to be. I want every week to try to win each game. But I think if they could find a way to beat this talented team, then it would be an accomplishment. But that's out there. But more importantly, I think is just trying to get us ready to play these guys because just watching them, they're scary.
Did you think Praise would be this good when he got back, considering he had that game taken away from him, having kind of a raw deal, comes back? Did you think he would make this type of impact?
I knew he was talented just from my time being here with him. I mean, I was here with him 1 year, and I thought he was really talented. I didn't know exactly what he would do, and I'll just say this: he can be way better. Praise could be way better. I was proud of him last week. Played through some, banged up. He was banged up in practice. He was struggling in practice, but he's only touched what he can do. I mean, as he develops his motor and gets more and more relentless, I mean, he could be way, way, way better. And so I actually think I told Rich, I think he fumbled a third fumble. He created a third fumble, but as he gets back into it even more, I mean, he's just scratched what he could be.
You were here when you guys went 8-4 and didn't go to a bowl. I mean, you feel like in the new landscape with the new conference, you can tell these kids 6 wins. You're definitely going to be playing in the holidays.
I would never think that way or say that just because of that experience that I was through. I mean, that was probably the hardest day I've had in coaching, to be quite honest, is facing Colin Madison and those kids in that room and saying that. And so for me, even just to think that way with them, I don't want them to think about anything other than Memphis, and then I don't want them thinking about anything other than the next team and then the next team, and just really have that, because what I want to get done, and not me, what we want to get done is have a program that tries to go out and win every game, right? And tries to, and it's hard to do, right? But that's the mindset we want to have, and to do that, you have to attack it. So, if we say, well, if we get to this, then we're there, then they'll start to relax, right? So I have to be relentless. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, we won the game. I mean, I love our offensive staff. I mean, we won the game, and I come in Sunday, and I'm chewing everybody up. But it's just this job. I have to be relentless, right? To get everyone to have a relentless mentality, and that's what I want us to have here at Temple. I want us to have an absolutely relentless mentality that you don't want to play us. We don't have it yet, but we're trying to get that way.
The 2 games you lost, and this one, they're really simple saying, going out there and saying, hey, if we don't turn the ball over, and the other team turns the ball over, we got a really good chance of winning.
Turnovers and penalties, man. I mean, I quoted Mike Singletary to them. We are not a charity, right? Just don't give the ball away, and don't get turnovers. I mean, and don't turn the ball over, and don't have penalties. And you're gonna turn the ball over sometimes. Like, I'm afraid right now, PJ's almost like being too cautious now. Now in that game, I mean, I was a jerk in that game. I knew that if we didn't turn the ball over, once I got the feel of that game, we were going to win the game. I just didn't feel like they were going to be able to put enough plays back to back against us. So, I mean, you saw us in that 2 minute just for a play or two. Just PJ could rip the ball, cut the go route to Jalen that they grabbed the guy. I mean, you could tell PJ could throw the ball in that rain. But I'd say, they're not going to beat us if we don't turn the ball over. But moving forward, I mean, we're going to have to be aggressive, but so I just don't want silly penalties. I don't want silly turnovers. I don't want, things like that. And so, I want, when you watch us, it looks like a clean, good football team.
Is he still dealing with ankle injury, or is he feeling about as good as he can feel right now?
I think that's about as good as he's going to feel this year. You know what I mean? It's like once you get an ankle, you have an ankle. Kenny has one. They all have them, and they don't heal till spring. So it's just kind of the way it is for those guys. Yeah, Kenny stepped up. I mean, for a guy that really couldn't even jog or walk 2 weeks ago, and he couldn't really run. I mean, he had some good plays for us, because you go back to Houston, and we're talking about you go back to Houston and UCF. We could not convert in short yardage, and we could not convert inside the 5 in those games. And Kenny coming back, that big back, gave us a guy that was able to push the ball in from the 5-yard line, from the 3-yard line, and allow us to score. Because if those were 2 field goals, then in that weather, then that's a completely different game. So I thought the offense inside the 5, I don't know what it was against UCF and Houston. I think 3 or 4 times we've been 3 times inside the 5 at Houston for 3 points. You score touchdowns there, it's a completely different game. So we're not far from being a good team, but we're just not there yet. We're working though.
Matt, do you see an increase in Praise's maturity level, having gone through the career?
Yeah, I can't remember him well enough early on. I'll just say this. I think he's a mature kid. He handles his business. I just think, really his body's not ready for this yet, and you can see still what he's doing, right? I mean, he hasn't had the time to really train his body that you would see, I think, a year from now, how in shape and flying around he's going to be. That being said, he's playing at a really high level. I'm just excited saying he's going to play at an even higher level next year. I mean, we have some guys that are still just like, 15 pounds away from being dominant. What I don't want to lose is I thought Matt Ioannidis and Hershey Walton and Jacob Martin and Hassan Reddick and Avery Off, they played their tails off. Chudnoff. I mean, we were able to stop the run, not all the time, but to a degree with a three-man rush, which no one's been able to do. And, Ioannidis and those guys were selfless inside. They were taking up double teams, Matakevich and Nate D, and then, obviously Praise made the big plays to turn the game.
How would this weekend be different? Because, this weekend you want to get, that ECU can win the ball too, but this is going to be really focused on.
Yeah, and we're banged up. Finch is banged up at outside linebacker. I don't know if he'll play. Avery Williams is still out for another week. So, we're down with our linebacking core anyway. So, we won't be able to – we played in a dime, basically, a dime defense the whole game. We won't play in that this week. So, some guys are going to have to step up and play. But these guys are going to challenge you in the run game and challenge you in the screen game. I mean, Coach Fuente has done as good a job as you can do with that offense, man. I mean, he just stresses you in every way.
Who reached out to you over the weekend, like former players, coaches, anybody, just to, when you beat a top 25 team, University of 290, anybody in particular reach out to you?
Probably had a ton. I had a lot of them. So a lot of great people, reached out, which we're all appreciative of. I will say this: I want to make sure I say after we lost to Houston, though, I got Ryan Alderman. Talking about former players, Ryan Alderman texted me, and a lot of former Temple Owls after those Houston and UCF games. The Todd Hirschmans, Ken Stabolos, Sheldon Morris, Paul Palm, all those. Too many to name, right? But all those great guys just showing support in those moments. So that's what made this game so much more fun. Was those guys were the Steve Conjars that when you lose they text you and say, hey, we'll get it right, and then when you win, I'm just so happy to share that with those guys. So, my goal is every time we play at home for all the former Temple players and the Temple fans and the Temple students, I just want them to feel proud of what we're putting on tape or what we're playing in front of them, and hopefully they felt that Saturday.
Matt, what's Finch's injury? He can't go.
Well, he just had knee surgery over the summer, so I mean, just this grind has been a lot on him, right? So some games he looks better than others, and in terms of his knees, right? When his knees feel good, you can see what he can do, right? His knees are just wearing down right now. He just needs a break, and we're about 5 weeks away from a break. So this is a unique year, 12 games in 15 weeks. It's unique, and he's just a little bit banged up.
A similar question with Devon. Would you expect him to make the league that he's making this year?
No, I couldn't be more proud of Tavon Young. I mean, he's a guy that last year we challenged, never felt like he was bought into what we were doing, and he has worked and worked and worked, and had a tough game at UCF, right? I mean, I'm not saying he played badly, but just gave up some plays he didn't want to give up, and came back this week with a iron, laser-like focus, and really proud of him. And if you come in this building about 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, you're going to see about 4, 5, 6 corners in here on their own. Watching. We don't encourage it. They're on their own, and they study and they work, and that's been one of the biggest differences on this team is the work ethic of our defensive backs.
Wells had a couple big pass breakups in the second half on Saturday. How much different is your secondary when Wells is back there?
Well, he's not really healthy, but he's made plays, which was great, and he's still kind of like I say that because I'm proud of him because he's out there kind of playing, at 3/4 speed. But Alex makes great plays on the ball, and it's been like a group effort at safety. I mean, we basically played with 4 safeties for most of that game. Will Hayes was out there, Boye, Pretlow, and Alex. But I just thought that a lot of guys made plays. A lot of guys play with confidence. The only way you can beat a team like that is to have confidence and try to make the play when it's there and not just let them catch it and tackle them. And he went after, tried to make plays, and they'll have to do it again Friday night.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.